All right, so here we go. That's right. We've got some very important critical updates around Starfield today, including one that improves the performance of the game. You're going to want to stop everything and get this right now. Trust me. Also, after 80 hours of play, these tips are by far some of the most important things to know going forward. You do not want to miss this. And a player makes a huge discovery that changes the way we see wildlife in the game. This is very cool. And a post-launch reviews, we got to talk about those. Apparently, they're on a downward trend for Starfield, but does this really even matter? Or is this game getting review bombed in a way where we're going to take a look? And Star Wars in Starfield, yes, you better believe it, it's actually happening. And we've got new map layouts that will definitely help you navigate Aquila, Neon, and Atlantis, and much more. Plus, Starfield on the go. Forget Steam Deck? Well, check this out. Looks like there's yet another option to play Starfield in the palm of your hands. This is awesome. Also, if you are new, welcome aboard. Smack that subscribe button and turn on that bell notification icon so you never miss another Starfield update. But let's dive straight into this. Check it out. It says NVIDIA boost Starfield performance with GPU driver update. This is extremely important. You're going to want to update your NVIDIA drivers. Check it out. It says NVIDIA is rolling out an update that will improve Starfield performance for owners of RTX 30 and 40 series cards. NVIDIA says its automatic over-the-air update will enable resizable bar and boost Starfield performance for its latest GPUs. Now, go on to say this. Today, NVIDIA is releasing a resizable bar profile for Starfield, which increases performance on GeForce RTX 40 series and GeForce RTX 30 series desktop and laptop GPUs. In our testing scenario, GeForce RTX 40 series desktop GPUs see an average a 5% increase in performance. That's actually really good. Now, they do go on to make mention this right here. Check it out. They say this: NVIDIA's updates come just days after the experts at Digital Foundry found that Starfield is a bizarrely worse experience on NVIDIA and Intel compared to AMD's GPUs. Now, Digital Foundry found issues with Intel's CPUs and a 46% performance gap between AMD's Radeon RX 6080 XT, and NVIDIA's RTX 3080 in Starfield. That's an unusually large gap, and we'll have to see if this new resizable bar profile update helps to close it. So yeah, go ahead and update your NVIDIA drivers. I am so curious going forward what you guys have to say that are on the 30 and 40 series graphics cards. I'm on the 3080 over here. I know it's not like top of the line, but my God, Starfield has been running really good for me. Of course, it would be nice to be pushing like 160 frames per second or what have you, but I'm very happy how it is running thus far. Now, we got to take a look at this because this is extremely important. Check out how many upvotes it has, by the way. 17,600. This was posted by Board Guy in DC, and it says 80 hours in my I wish I knew that earlier list. Number 1, it says save your level up points for the skills you really want. Leveling is slow in this game, so don't spend your points just to spend them. Piloting, ship design, security, boost pack training, weightlifting, weapon mods, and space suit mods are all important skills. The reason I brought this up at all is that you can't respec at all in this game, which begs the question, do you guys want the ability to respec in Starfield? Do you think that should be an update to the game officially? It would be cool if mod support had that as well. But yes, 100% agree with this. At the beginning of the game, it is the most critical time when you are actually spending your skill points. So yes, choose wisely. All right, next up, we have this one right here. Food and misc items are a waste of space. Don't bother picking them up. I get that they are worth credits and have some other beneficial effects, just not enough to offset the time sink of dealing with that much trash. You get plenty of creds just doing quests. And I talked about this in a previous video that I think they need to buff food items in this game because they are overall just a waste of inventory and worthless. And they do add pointless clutter to the loot experience, at least in my opinion. So I do think that Bethesda needs to fine tune that and actually buff those resources to make them matter, you know? But then again, some of you may be like, hey, that's going to make the game too easy. So sound off what you think about that one. Next up, we have this one. Do the Horizon Industries faction quest first. You will want the rewards before you start the rest of the game. The reward is not equipment or creds, it's the unique character abilities the questline unlocks that you may or may not want for the rest of the game. I personally love the abilities and use them in and out of combat often, mostly for crap and giggles, but hey, that's what this game is about. So check that out. Be sure to start that quest line. Now it says, save the SysDev quest until you have a great combat ship. Also, I mean the ShiftDev quest. This one is where you decide between fighting SysDev or the pirate. Sorry if I put the wrong one here. And number 5, it says there are a ton of ship parts that are tied to your level, and you can't access them until you reach a certain point. I meant the main parts: reactor, weapon, shields, engines, and grav drives. And you can't die from sprinting, running while overweight. You get about 5% health and never drop below. Vendors respawn their goods credits if you just sit and wait for 48 hours. It's actually 24 hours UT times. That's great to know right there. Always buy the available med packs, digipicks, and your favorite gun ammo from every vendor you check. Later game guns can have very high fire rates and large clips. These types of guns make combat very fun, but also eat ammo like crazy. Yeah, the advice there about digipicks, I can't stress that enough. There was a mission that I was on, and I deeply regretted not having enough digipicks, and I was gutted. I was like, why, Robbie? Why? So yes, practically every vendor does sell digipicks. Make sure you get those. And then we have this one. You don't need to carry around every note that you find till the end of the game. If you try to store them, only the ones with active quests tied to them will be unable to be moved. So feel free to store all the rest. And we also have this one. Do the Mantis quest secret outpost early on. Not to become overpowered, but because the rewards diminish in usefulness the higher level you are, and are pretty darn cool. Don't fast travel everywhere. Take the time to enter your ship, take off, select your quest, location in space, and hit X to travel. This is when you get the most fun random encounters. The encounters technically only happen when you encounter or enter a system or orbit a planet, not during the other activities in this sequence. And again, yeah, I have actually slowed down how I play the game. And anymore, I go to my ship, enjoy my ship, get in, and take off. And I think it's even more important to do that because, like, if you create your own ship, you really take it in and enjoy what you have created. And it feels a lot more realistic as well. But yeah, it's so important to engage with the other ships that are around. They will give you quests that you would never otherwise see if you just go straight to a planet. Next up, we have this one. Number 12. If you want the best weapons and equipment, you can save just before you kill a mini-boss, an enemy with multiple health bubbles. Loot and reload your game until a great item spawns on it. Their loot is generated when they die, so save just before the last bit of health is gone. Personal taste here, not for everyone. You may want to play it more organically. Now it says save often, especially on stealth missions. Every time you alter your ships, by the way, main living habs in the ship builder, you will end up with a bunch of trash in your ship's cargo hold, the more you know. There are no area maps in the game, so stop looking for them. I'm going to mention like some cool resources you can actually use, though. Now it says switch your followers every few hours or so. It helps to move along their main quest lines. Don't just keep Sarah for 50 hours, for example. Mining is a waste of time. Buying resources is faster and cheap. The resource sink in this game are outposts. If you don't bother with an outpost, you will never need the ridiculous amount of resources they provide. If you are only using resources to upgrade equipment, weapons, and spacesuit stuff, then you won't need half of what you find in the game, let alone need to go out and mine anything. Now it says, don't forget to use chems for combats, persuading, sneaking, etc. You get plenty of them, so no need to save them all up for some fictional, crazy in-game battle. I totally agree with this. I can't recommend, even if you're like exploring a random planet and you notice like red on your HUD, meaning enemies are nearby, load up on the buffs, load up on resistances, that sort of thing. That's helped me so much. It is such a game changer. Do not ignore that part of the game, trust me. And we have this one right here. You can play the entire game and never need to build an outpost. I didn't mean they are worthless, great source of XP and credits, just that you can literally go through all the faction quests and main story and never need to build one. I actually like that. Now, it says New Game Plus is a waste of time. Just enjoy the game as is. Do all the side quests and then the main storyline. Whoa, then that's definitely a divisive opinion right there. And he does go on to explain his reasoning as to why he feels that way about New Game Plus. It's a personal preference, but I cannot get into his reasoning because I consider that kind of spoilerific for anyone that has not ventured into New Game Plus. But yeah, there are actually some really cool things about New Game Plus. My twin bro Ryan is actually in New Game Plus, and he is describing to me some things that are happening there. It sounds very, very cool, but again, it's very subjective. You don't have to go into New Game Plus. You feel like you have done enough with your current character and you're happy with the path you have taken and you're willing to go through that type of reset and maybe experience the same faction line just in a different way, perhaps. That's how I view New Game Plus. Then again, I have said this time and time again, that it's kind of strange. I think a lot of people are going to want to create an entirely new character and experience the different traits and background stories. So yeah, that's how I roll. At least I know that's how I'm going to do it. Check it out. It goes on to say this. I may not be the first, but I think I just discovered something. This game is super smart. This comes from IC Canada, and it says this. So for one of my 2 ongoing character builds, I'm playing a white coat scientist build. Mostly, I'm just taking survey missions and 100%ing as many planets as I can. It's my laid-back build, and it's a super chill gameplay arc for the most part. Thing is, I kept running into one problem, the beetles. Planets would have these little bugs, and they were super hard to find, so I kept running into a situation where I'd have everything else I needed scanned, and I'd still be on the bug hunt. But then I realized that the beetles always had scavenger in their name. See, if a planet has 3 life forms, for example, there will always be a hunter species, a prey species, and a scavenger species. And sure enough, if you follow a bunch of hunters to a location where they engage and kill a bunch of prey, and then wait for a bit, guess who shows up? The scavengers. Bloody brilliant. This is such a cool detail that basically you can find in a Bethesda game, that level of love and attention to detail that Bethesda gives to their games. And this is something that is very, very cool. So if you're wondering, hey, where are the scavengers? The more you know. Now, also, we have a follow-up reply here. Check it out. It says, if there is a certain climate, you'll get always flying critters. And same if there is liquid oceans that fall in certain habitable ranges. Anytime I'm missing an animal on a planet with 7 out of 8, for example, there's always one in a coastal region. So check out those coastlines. That is extremely important to remember. But yeah, take a look at this. It says, so what's the best way to sell my $350,600 worth of contraband? We got to scroll down. If you don't know about contraband and how to really get around this. So if you didn't know, if you have access to the Crimson Fleet, there's 4 vendors with a total of 20K that can all buy them. It's up to you to decide if it's worth it, because the only trade-off is you can't really attack them to steal loot around the universe, which is kind of boring. Personally, the Den is my choice just because it's easy for all levels. And then there's also the Trade Authority. You can find those in most towns. They usually deal with, the underground type of dealings. The first time I ran into them was through, of course, Neon. So check them out. They're usually like a big yellow bright sign, very easy to find. But yeah, that's where you can really sell your contraband. So, for example, if you are on Neon and you grab some contraband, don't leave the planet. Just go straight to the Trade Authority and so on. And then you can go to the Red Mile, as you can see right here. It is on the Paroma 3 planet in the Paroma system. And you got to talk to this dude right here. He's just a cheery fella. Just walk through and you'll see him pretty much instantly in his office. And he will be the one that sells you the shielded cargo so you can get past those annoying scanners. I have like a 60% chance now to get past those scanners. And trust me, I've done some really cool missions related to contraband. But yeah, check that out at the Red Mile for sure. All right, so we have got to talk about those Steam reviews because some interesting things have been happening around that. Because apparently, check out the headline right here. It goes on to say this. Starfield Steam reviews slump post-launch. No longer very positive. Oh, really? But is this legit, or is there an actual reason for this? It goes on to say this. As of this writing, Starfield is rated mostly positive on Steam, with a 77% of the game's users' reviews off. It goes on to say this, right? So it goes on to say, as of this writing, it goes on to say, as of this writing, Starfield is rated mostly positive on Steam. That's actually still really good, with 77% of the game's user reviews offering the mostly positive score. Now, Starfield has roughly over 60,000 user reviews in total, with just over 44,000 offering an overall positive response to the game, and around 16,000 reviewing the game negatively. On the Google results page, which displays star and numerical ratings for Steam titles, Starfield is listed currently at a 7 out of 10, which actually matches, interestingly, the IGN rating. Now, we're further into the game. I think most of you have played it a bunch. Give your rating after playing X amount of hours. I'm kind of curious to see where most of you stand with Starfield after playing it this long. And we have this right here. It says, Steam assigns the very positive marker to games only when at least 80% of the reviews are positive. In the first days after its release, Starfield was rated as very positive and could return to this category if it receives a relatively small number of additional positive reviews. Its closest cousins, Skyrim and Fallout 4, are both rated as very positive overall, although recent reviews for Skyrim are at a higher, overwhelmingly positive rating right there. So I think this is going to be kind of like Cyberpunk. Cyberpunk got several key important updates, and its rating just kept going up and increasing over time. And honestly, I see that potentially happening here with Starfield. Although I will say personally, I think Starfield launched in a better, more stable condition than Cyberpunk ever did. And yeah, I got to say, I'm also very excited for Phantom Liberty when it comes to Cyberpunk 2077, but that's a whole other matter. But let me know if you guys want to see me cover that one as well. But yeah, let's get a little bit more into the Steam reviews and see what's happening with the most recent negative reviews. All right, so let's dive into them, shall we? So we have the best game of 2006, not recommended after 26 hours of playtime. It's only 26 hours spent in Starfield. Can you make an opinion or form an opinion on Starfield after only 26 hours? Let me know. I think on some levels you could, but not entirely. I say, hell no, you can't make like a final opinion at all about the game. But I guess he's saying here in a way that this game belongs in 2006. Let me know if you agree with that one or not. I myself, I love it still. Then we have this right here, not recommended. Now, this is after nearly 90 hours of playtime. So it says this: I really, really wanted to love this game. I really wanted Starfield to be an epic masterpiece. Starfield feels more like a demo, like the developers held back 90% of the main story so that the full game would still be exciting to play on the official release. I have never heard of a demo being playable for 90 hours. I'm just saying that. I remember when we used to get actual demo discs that would offer you maybe 30 minutes of playtime, and that's all you got. But to call the game a demo is a huge stretch for sure. But yeah, I thought the story was fascinating, and I love the open-endedness of it as well. And I feel like there are story arcs in here with the faction and quest lines that are just, in my opinion, brilliant. Like they actually have really cool plot twists. And then we have this one right here. It says not recommended. Now, about 40 hours on record here of playtime. It says, I struggled a lot deciding whether or not I recommend Starfield, but while the gunplay and space battles are competent and the story and characters aren't bad, everything else about it is skin deep, like a feature barren No Man's Sky. What Starfield does bring to the table, however, is an incredible canvas for modders. Now, I agree with that. Albeit with no creation kit until next year, I'd wait until the modding scene pops off or a good sell to pick this one up. Yeah, I think the modding is going to be incredible for this game. Already, we're seeing some very, very cool stuff happening with Starfield and the modding scene, but I don't consider this game at all to be feature barren whatsoever. And I think it's a different style of game versus No Man's Sky. When you talk about story NPCs and stuff like that, I mean, some would say that No Man's Sky is feature barren when it comes to that, and Starfield actually excels in that regard. And then when you talk about like space travel, seamlessness, and that sort of thing, then it would reverse to some people. I myself, I view this as a Bethesda game, RPG first and foremost, with the space theme. That's how I think about it, and I enjoy the hell out of it. Now, we also have this right here. Check it out. It says, I think Starfield is now the biggest example in gaming to me that people truly have different ideas of fun in games. I thought this was a perfect follow up to those negative reviews. This one comes from Calinx, who says this: I have a pretty wide scope of games I enjoy. I could play RPGs, multiplayer shooters, action adventure, strategy, etc. I don't play absolutely every genre, but I do like a lot. I've always had a wide palette. That said, even I have not been able to get really into some highly popular games, and it has surprised me. My biggest example of this are Souls games, particularly Elden Ring. I don't really know why, but I just cannot get into it. I put in about 7 to 10 hours. I even still do plan to go back one day. But yeah, those games, they just don't grab me. And nearly everyone I talk to that has played them considers Elden Ring one of the greatest games of all time. That said, even though I didn't particularly enjoy it very much, I didn't dislike it either. I was just lukewarm on it. I understand it's a great game. I would never say it's trash or it sucks. I understand that almost universally people love it. This game, though, it's absolutely my game. I have seen so many people say it's boring. I have seen so many people say its writing is terrible. It has been ripped to shreds by some for being archaic and dull. I won't sit here and say that I don't find things in this game to be very familiar or formulaic, but damn, as a whole package, I think this game is absolutely enthralling. Boring is the furthest thought from my mind when it comes to playing this game. I am extremely excited to turn it on every chance I get. Every time I set down on a new area, I am tantalized at the possibility of finding some new items or new event. It really just goes to show how one person's thrilling is another person's completely bland. The experience I am having is just the polar opposite of so many of the impressions I have been hearing about this game. I've never seen a AAA game have this much whiplash, in my opinion. Well, honestly, I have. It just seems to be a repetitive thing that's happening in the gaming communities anymore. It's very divisive. I think, it's interesting. I've heard some theories that it's how this game was marketed, that perhaps Bethesda should have been really showcasing how you explore a planet. Because one thing that I've noticed time and time again with the virality of this game is how people are like, oh, this game actually has boundaries. Never once in my playtime so far have I ever ran into a boundary unless I go out of my way to do so. And that's just not how most people are going to be playing this game whatsoever, unless they want this game to be experienced where it's 100% you're walking the planet, I guess, unless you want it to be called like Walking the Planet. I guess that should be the title of the game. But that's not what this game is at all. I mean, you're going to want to first and foremost, at least in my opinion, experience some sort of faction quest line, have some sort of meaningful exploration where in turn you have the reward of upgrading your ship or even having the option of building a new ship. And that sense of exploration is consistently there. I think their goal, half hour to every hour, you get something new. You're on a new planet, you're experiencing new outposts, you're going underground in a planet, you're picking up some sort of new side mission. That's the goal of this game. That's what I pick up on. Let me know if you guys agree with that or not. But we have a follow up here. It says, just wanted to point out something that if people on the internet did more, things would be much better. You said you didn't like Elden Ring, but still thought it was a great game. And this is so important to me and weird that people can't differentiate. You can dislike something and recognize it's not for you and still think it's well made. I don't like Nintendo, can't get into their games, but I still recognize that Zelda is a top tier game and say that the game is really good, even if I don't like it. Yeah, there's different flavors for everyone. It's the same thing. I guess it's the same thing with food. You don't like that sort of food. Maybe you don't like sushi, but other people absolutely love it. It doesn't mean it's outright absolutely terrible. I think that's like the same difference. And then we have this take here. It says, I'm convinced people who don't like Starfield wouldn't have liked Morrowind or Oblivion. This is fascinating. It says, Starfield has problems, sure, but this is hands down the most Bethesda game Studio has put out since 2007. It's hitting all of the same buttons in my brain that Oblivion and Morrowind did. The quests are great. The aesthetics is great. It's actually pretty well written, something you couldn't say for Fallout 4 or big chunks of Skyrim. But the majority of the negative responses I've seen about the game gives me the impression that the people saying this stuff probably wouldn't have enjoyed pre-Skyrim Bethesda Game Studio games either, especially not Morrowind. Anyone else getting this feeling. So, yeah, in that comment alone, there's a lot of divisive stuff there because a lot of people would say, "Hold up now, Skyrim is my absolute favorite game. How dare you even knock down like the storytelling in that one?" But yeah, I definitely get what he is saying there for sure, and I do agree with that take as well. Now, we have this one from IGN. It says Starfield modders are turning Bethesda's game Space RPG into a Star Wars game. Move along. And yes, it's actually happening and it gets me so excited for the future. It says this right here. Starfield modders are having their fun with Bethesda's space role-playing game, making some weird and wonderful concoctions as well as some really useful quality of life improvements. Now modders are turning their attention to Star Wars. Perhaps the most impressive Star Wars related mod for Starfield so far is this Galactic Civil War conversion created by K-Boy, which turns the United Colony's cops into stormtroopers. Check it out right here. Here's just a peek of it. But yeah, this is just the beginning, and there's been some really cool Star Wars spaceships that have actually been created. And yeah, I cannot wait to see them. Like, I really do hope that someone creates Coruscant. I was hoping that maybe, just maybe, one of the new devs that are working on Star Wars games was going to be like, here's the announcement, the big open world Coruscant game. That has still not happened, which is just like, come on, make it happen. But hopefully that does. But anyway, we have this right here as well. Here are some Starfield city maps since the game doesn't have any. That's a little bit of a dig right there, definitely. But yeah, these maps are beautiful. Here is Aquila. We also have New Atlantis here. Don't forget about Neon and Sidonia. So check it out. Also, the link's in the description below. This is an excellent guide and is a great companion for when you're playing the game. But we need an official update. There needs to be official map support in this game. But yeah, if you want to play Starfield on the go, Steam Deck is always one of the best options. But this article is interesting. It says, forget Steam Deck. I've been playing Starfield on this Android gaming handheld instead. Oh, really? This got me extremely curious. It says this, since I don't have a Steam Deck, an Asus ROG Ally, or any other Windows 11 handheld, I've been using Razer's Android gaming handheld instead. It's been perfect for playing Starfield at home, but with its 5G connection and a subscription to Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, I even managed to play outside. Here's how it went. So please do tell us. So what it's like playing Starfield on a handheld console? Well, surprisingly comfortable, and the game looks great on the Razer Edge's 6.8 144 Hz AMOLED FHD Plus display. To everyone's dismay, though, Starfield is locked at 30 frames per second, and the game can't take advantage of the display's higher refresh rate, though the best Steam games can with GeForce Now Ultimate. While playing Starfield remotely at home, I didn't see any dips in streaming performance or frame rate drops, probably because I'm using one of the best Wi-Fi routers. Gameplay was fluid and smooth, and once I got used to playing the game on a smaller screen, I lost track of time. I guess I would have to like potentially get used to the 30 frames per second. But if you're wondering what this actually looks like, check it out right here. Here's a picture of it. It actually looks beautiful right here. So I'm kind of curious to see how many of you would actually attempt to play Starfield on the go, perhaps, or if this is something you would even consider. I always thought, it would be cool to try out, sit on the couch, like maybe have some background music and chill and build a spaceship. That's one thing that I would love to do. Building a spaceship on the go would be cool. All right, so I think you guys know what time it is. It is time to go over your top comments. Remember to leave a comment down below. It could end up right here in a future video. But yeah, what was my most recent video about? Starfield is getting even bigger. Check out this video. It's about DLC and then also Creation Kit 2. And there's some warnings in there as well about what version of Starfield you actually are running, because that's going to become critical the more we get into this game and its future. Then we have these comments right here from you all, from Justin, who says this: they should give the Trackers Alliance some love so we can have a full bounty hunter storyline. Yeah, I'm kind of surprised that's not already in the game. Maybe, just maybe, they're kind of like reserving that for a big, epic, sprawling expansion. We'll have to wait and see. And then also we have Super Toast GT, who says outpost building and stealth are my two biggest issues. The outpost issue was already covered, but enemies spotting you far from their outpost while you are camouflaged is derp. A lot of you guys agree with that one. And then we have OG Brundi or Brundle, who says, in expansions, I'd love to see the ability to build space stations, more criminal quest lines, new crew members, a shipbuilding expansion with new parts and ships would also be awesome. Yeah, I'm hoping that they do like tap into companions, by the way, that aren't overly goody two shoes, if you would. I really wanted more companions that would be like, yeah, let's go after the heist. Let's do it, and be on your side with that. But it just seems like Bosco is the only one that's like willing to not say a word and be mum about everything. And then we have this one from Caden, who says this: I'm enjoying the game so far. My only problem is I wish we could dismantle gear. Yeah, another feature that's absolutely missing from the game. And I'm kind of shocked that that's not in the game. Where is the dismantle feature, Bethesda? Now we have Papa, who says this: all I want is for Bethesda to increase the points of interest density on the explorable worlds and to try and make each location a different variation. After seeing the same mine 4 times, you tend to not want to explore anymore, especially when you scan all the points of interest and it's just a natural landmark. That's a huge problem, and that needs to be updated, but I'm sure modders will get on that one. Blake says this: I played a lot of No Man's Sky. I currently very much love Starfield, but I can't help but desperately wish I could actually fly my ship in more than just an empty skybox. Being able to manually leave or enter the atmosphere of a planet and fly just above the land is so exhilarating, especially the first time, and Starfield really missed out on giving that feeling to players. That said, Starfield is amazing. Just my one complaint: let me fly my ships. You know what? It sounds like No Man's Sky definitely spoiled you for sure. Yeah, No Man's Sky is a one of a kind when it comes to the seamless nature of the universe. There's just no doubt. And I really do believe that other developers look to No Man's Sky and are like, how the hell did they do that? And I love that team personally. I think that they are amazing with how they have offered so many free updates to their game. When they said that they would like fix their game and address issues, they like tripled down on that big time over the years. Yeah, but anyway, there it is. The latest happenings around Starfield. Thank you all so much for the comments. I love reading them. I wish I could read more, of course, like spend all day making a video reading all of your comments. But thank you again. Stay tuned here for more Starfield news and updates, and I will see you all next time. Take care.